Hello and welcome to Media Academy Online's Film Diet podcast. I'm Dana.
And I'm Brandon.
And in this podcast, we're going to be talking about anything cinema related. I think between us both, we've seen quite a lot of films.
A lifetime worth.
Yeah, but we'll try and keep things
Condensed
and mention the most notable ones. As well as that, we'll talk about any sort of recent news that's happened in the world of film and media.
Yeah. So first off, we'll talk about recent film. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, what have you seen recently? I guess we've both seen Avengers, and that's probably a good starting point because everyone's seen it. And if you haven't, good on you.
Yeah. Well, they obviously haven't gone to the cinema because when I went and saw Avengers, I actually wanted to see something else, but every single screen was taken up by Avengers.
That's an interesting topic right there, I think.
So if you're not sure exactly how the whole cinema allocation works, is that when a film is played in the cinemas, there's a minimum amount of screens that have to run a certain film. But as soon as that minimum amount of screens have been allocated for the day, then as soon as that's reached, that's when they will stop airing that and then put whatever is making them the most money. So by the time it gets to the evening, usually that allocation is run out.
Yep.
And that's all they'll be playing.
Yeah, right. I was wondering about that because I knew there was something there about that, but I didn't know the way it worked properly, you know.
Yeah.
I knew it was a domino effect that Disney's definitely got the stranglehold over the whole industry now, and that's been their game plan.
Well, that's it. What's left, really? Universal.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Just barely. I think these guys are keeping their heads above water.
Only just.
Christopher Nolan, because he's Warner Brothers, so he's keeping them afloat barely. He needs to put out a movie every year, or maybe 2 a year, to keep up with Disney. And they'll get old quickly.
But yeah, if I was them, I would be scared shitless.
Spielberg was talking about this 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
About one company. He didn't explicitly say Disney, but he was saying that one company in the future is going to take over all of Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I can't remember where or when this was, but I remember it. And it's happened.
Well, that's the thing, really, isn't it? I mean, as soon as you start gobbling up a few, you then building the resources
it's like a snowball effect, isn't
it? To buy more. And
well, the biggest kick in the teeth, I think, for the industry would have been when they snapped up Fox.
Yeah, well, that's it. Especially like from a distributor point of view, and get their hands on things like The Simpsons and
the
stuff
properties,
like that.
Yeah, the IPs, the biggest IPs.
And the other thing is Avatar, even though that was under the banner of Fox, but but I mean, you could see that Disney had their eyes on it for a long time. I mean, they've got them in their theme parks.
Oh, I didn't even realise.
Yeah, there's a theme park world.
That doesn't surprise me.
A world in the theme park for it.
And it's funny because James Cameron started off with doing a theme park thing for Terminator.
Yep.
Back in the day in the 90s, I always wanted to see that as a kid. I remember seeing the ads for it on the videos that you'd rent, and I was like, oh, I want to see that. And anyway, so now there's Avatar, and wow.
And I mean the Avatar thing. I mean, there's only been one film, and yet they've put a lot of effort into building their whole franchise. I mean,
supporting it.
There's more coming, but I mean,
too many coming.
There's a decade between the first one and the second one.
Bizarre.
And I mean, yes, okay, it's the highest grossing film of all time, but just the whole point is we had one successful film, so we're going to make it appear everywhere.
It's ridiculous. Because I didn't even think that first film was that good.
Yeah, I mean,
from a technical standpoint, yeah, maybe. The 3D, I'm not a big fan of it, like most of us.
I mean, the 3D thing, that for a while there, they really were shoving that down our throats.
Oh, it was like the only way you could see a movie at a point was 3D.
And, it's an experience. Like, you can watch it once and say, oh, that was great. But you get to a point where
it's distracting.
Yeah, you
it's
can
just
have
not your normal way of watching something.
How many balls can you have thrown at your face?
Yeah, before it gets old.
my biggest peeve with it was the glasses. Throughout the whole film, I wanted to take it off and just
Well, I kind of did a
relax.
couple
Yeah.
times.
And and you just watch this weird
Yeah.
broken image.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But yeah, no, it's the whole. You can watch this, but you have to wear these glasses which dim the view.
Kind of restrict your vision to an
Yeah,
extent.
and it restricts your vision. I mean, theme parks, throw it in theme parks, but
As an experience, it's fine. Like once every 10 years, maybe. Yeah.
yeah. But if you can, if they can create the technology without the glasses, I think they'll be in a better position. But shoving it down our throats the
That
way
way.
they did is
It's like you're forced, basically.
Yeah.
And you have to pay more,
yeah.
which goes into probably their ticket sales and
But I mean, it's at the stage now where it's pretty much
dead.
So
James Cameron has to think of another gimmick. Maybe we'll
yeah.
flood the cinemas with water and we have
Well,
to
he
watch them
did-
underwater.
he has said that there's going to be new technology in this new.
It's like the only way he makes films. He's like, if I can't make this massive gimmick
Yeah.
thing with it, I'm
Yeah.
not going to do it.
And I mean, good on him for pushing the boundary.
Yeah.
At the expense of 10 years between the films, it's quite
Is that filmmaking?
yeah.
Is that classified as more business?
Yeah.
I guess film is a business.
I guess at this stage he can do whatever he wants. So
Yeah, totally.
and just can ignore everyone else, and that's what he's been doing.
It's weird though, because like when I was growing up, James Cameron was on my top probably 3 directors, which was obviously Spielberg #1 as a kid. George Lucas, who I thought was probably good back then and actually directed movies before I realised he didn't really.
Yeah.
He was my #2. And then #3 would have been James Cameron because of Aliens, Terminator,
Yeah.
True Lies. And then he did Titanic.
Yeah.
And that was the big downward slope for me anyway. And I was like, I saw Titanic. I liked it. I appreciated it and all that. But the romance thing just ain't my genre, really.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. When he announced that he was going to do Titanic, once he got approved to do it, throughout the whole production, no one believed in that film,
Right.
because it's not his style. Like
Yeah.
everyone was like,
It's so weird.
"This is going to be terrible. This isn't going to work."
Okay.
And he actually said at one stage, I'm pretty sure he said, he went over budget. He said, "Look, take away all my royalties
Really?
from the film, because I want to get it made, and all this sort of stuff."
He was like obsessed with that whole underwater thing.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
but the heads of the studios actually said, "No, we actually want to get the royalties for your next film, not this one, because we don't think it's going to make any money."
Oh.
So he
Wow.
told them to get fucked.
Okay.
And so
As he could.
withheld his royalties, and
Oh, wow.
now he's got
That's interesting.
a lot of money for that film.
That is very interesting. What a good gamble.
Yeah,
He backed himself.
yeah,
He had a vision. And he is brilliant. When he's on, he is brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
there's no two ways about it. You can't mess with him, even if it does take 10 years to make a movie. It's all a part of it now, because he creates an experience. It's
Yeah.
not just a movie anymore. For him, it's like, how do I make it that next thing? That's what's more than just watching a movie.
and that's what Hollywood has become. So to be able to understand that, and you get these veterans in the industry they're like, it's all about the 90 minutes that we've got them in front of the screen, and that's it.
Okay.
I want to make the story as good as I can. But the real business people in the industry say, no, it's more than just the film.
Okay.
It's what goes with it, and it's building the whole business around a film rather than just building the film itself.
It's like, I guess that all stems from things like maybe James Bond, an ongoing franchise that sort of showed that could be done. Planet of the Apes, maybe, but the biggest one of all, Star Wars, with toys and merchandising and creating a whole world for you to buy.
And unfortunately that's how it is, especially with the mainstream Hollywood. I mean, the films where a film is a film and that's all it is, they still exist in like the indie scene.
Yeah, which are genuinely more than often than not brilliant films.
Yeah,
They're the ones that actually you get an emotional resonance with them. There's something that either scars you or just on a technical film level, they can just on pure acting or directing or just film at its most purest essence, rather than throwing 100 million or plus at a movie just to get top CGI and that's it. You know,
Yeah.
and average directing, acting, and everything else.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything else, but a lot of it.
And that brings up the other question that sort of runs through my mind a lot is, at what stage does the film, the industry part, the business part of a film, when does that take sort of front seat to creating a decent, full story that people can resonate with? It's a sort of a difficult thing because you want the film to make money.
Yeah.
You want it to be successful in monetary terms.
Of course.
But at the same time, you want to make something that can stand up in the Academy Awards or whatever it might be.
Just across critics, you know, get, praise.
And it's sad. And I think that's part of the reason why, for us, we're in Australia, the film industry is... The only film industry is funded by the government.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is because we can't make films to make money. It doesn't work here.
We don't have enough people.
You don't have enough people.
Cinemas.
We don't have enough people interested in watching our kinds of film. And every now and then they'll try and do something that's a bit more commercial.
Like Australia or something like that, like a Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Baz Luhrmann, I mean, that was Hollywood as can be.
Yeah.
That was funded by Hollywood.
Yeah, okay. And he's doing a new one here.
Is he?
Right now. Elvis Presley.
I didn't know about this one.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just found out about this probably just over a week ago. I was just looking into... Because it's funnily enough, after, I think, Queen came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, and I thought, well, that's such a big money maker, even though it was a bit of a troubled production and whatnot, doesn't matter. It was popular.
Yeah.
And I thought, well... And I was reading articles about it, and I was saying, going on about the biopics, and they tend to make money, you know? And this is why Elton John's coming out next, Rocket Man. And then I'm like, how have they not made a movie of Elvis Presley yet? Like a new one.
Yeah.
And I was looking into it, and I saw Baz Luhrmann's next project.
Wow.
Elvis, filming in, I think, South Australia. And I'm thinking, wow, imagine getting to work on that.
Incredible.
Anyway, there you go.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because, as you said, the Bohemian Rhapsody, that I was surprised about how successful that was. I mean,
me too.
I was going to enjoy it. Like I'm a fan of Queen.
Yeah, I think most of us are.
And I think maybe that's why they're so successful, is that we can relate and we can have like the nostalgia hit when we watch it. But at the same time, we can find out more about the story that maybe we didn't know.
Yeah, more about it. Yeah, like I thought it was going to make probably in the realm of like 300 to 400 million. That's what I was sort of thinking after I heard it was successful. I thought, okay, it's going to make around that mark. It's not going to make half a bill since it won the Academy Award and all that. And they kept it going in cinemas. So it had a long theatrical run. And yeah, I just didn't imagine it becoming that successful.
Yeah,
but then again,
critically,
because it even won Best Editing and all these sorts of things at the Academy Awards, right? And I was thinking in watching things about like film editing and it per se is not the greatest.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. Like I didn't find it the best made film at all by a long shot. But I felt Rami performance playing Freddie Mercury was just in the band. I thought was what made that film kind of special. Yeah,
because I mean, if you think about the editing, I guess it did its job and told the story.
It totally did.
But I guess the fact that I didn't really notice anything about it, maybe that's just saying it was what it was. And it...
I actually found it a bit, at times in the movie, I found it a bit like jumpy.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it wasn't solid. I felt like things were either missing or skimmed over. I still enjoyed it, but I just found like it wasn't perfect. Like, but then, man, imagine the album sales for Queen again.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Yeah.
Go on the radio and they're playing them all again.
Yeah, so, it's insane. Like just the way that business works in that way. You know, it's all about how do they make not just money from a film, but money from as many pies as they can from that one product or IP.
That's right, because I mean, for something like Star Wars, it's about the merchandise, and
Yeah.
I guess for these, it's all about the business end of things, selling the music again, and
Yeah, and all that merchandise. You know, people love merchandise, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, clothes,
Yeah,
you name it. Yeah.
put Queen on something and it'll sell.
It's just a brand.
Yeah,
It's like Nike
yeah,
or Adidas. You got Queen. You got. I mean, I've bought Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd T-shirts. You know, from Kmart for
yeah.
$10.
That's it.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy when I think about it, because back in the day, or even you would have been spending, you know, $30 for a merch T-shirt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? For a
yeah.
band name on it. But now it's just like you get them at Kmart.
Everywhere,
It's
yeah.
crazy. Let's get back to the main movie that we both seen recently, and the one that we were going to discuss before we went on a massive detour and rant, which would be Avengers.
It's an interesting film in that we can't discuss the film on its own merit because
No.
it's connected to too
Is that
many.
is that their plan? That you can't actually
Yeah.
like wrap your head around it properly because it is just an entity that,
Yeah,
you know, it's like it. Yeah,
and if you for some reason had lived under a rock for the past 10 years and haven't seen a single Marvel film, you go in there being like, what is going on?
yeah,
Because they didn't try and create a film that could be understood by itself. Like there's a lot of like reboots or remakes and stuff where they will try and make the film its own little
get you to speed
film.
about what's
Yeah.
happening. Like
And,
Spider-Man's a good one for that.
yeah,
How they always cater for that.
where you don't have to go into a film and know exactly what's going on.
And as an aside with that, I think X-Men's the other one that kind of has done that in a little bit of a smaller way, but still the same idea.
Yeah,
You know, like the last few, which was like, because they rebooted it, didn't they, with First Class, and
Yeah.
then they went into Days of Future Past, which kind of had old characters with new. So yeah, I mean,
and that franchise is looking a bit
oh,
troublesome
totally,
too.
and it's Fox though,
Yeah,
so Disney's win-win anyway.
yeah, and
You know.
maybe that's what it is. It's just Disney want to get their hands on it to
Just to
fix it up.
Yeah, well,
Start
I think
again.
what's happening is that we were having too many superhero movies from too many companies, like Sony's. You know, all of them were trying to get on this bandwagon, and it's just saturating the market. There's
Yeah.
only so many fucking punches and kicks you can watch
And that's right.
before it gets repetitive.
And I'm not going to hide the fact that I think we're getting to a stage where they have their purpose, where they will cater to a wider audience.
Yeah.
But I go into it knowing what it is, and I'm not going there to
Expect anything
expect
more than
anything
that.
more. That's right.
Would you say that Dark Knight trilogy was something that exceeded your expectations of a superhero film?
Of course, but I mean that
That was before.
yeah. I think it depends on the reason why they're making it. That was made by a filmmaker who actually wanted to make a memorable
Film.
film, different, that hadn't been done before.
Yeah.
And it's, I guess, getting back to what we were referring to
Avengers,
before,
Marvel.
Avengers. Marvel, they try to do different things, but they're all very Marvel-esque.
Very.
So there's only so much sort of freedom they have to go and do something completely different.
And to be honest, with each film that's come out, it feels, even though Avengers has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, I feel like their universe or their film world has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Which is weird because they've gone out into space even.
Yeah.
But even Thor, you know, they went into these realms, these 9 realms and all this sort of stuff. And then we've got all of space to explore. But for some reason, it just feels so small.
Yeah, and now with Captain Marvel...
Captain Marvel, which I haven't seen yet. I didn't even
haven't?
bother. I didn't even bother.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to see it.
We got to the point where we've now got a character that's pretty much...
Yeah, I thought, what's going to be the point of this?
I mean, she can fly.
And shoot.
She can fly anywhere, can shoot lasers. She's pretty much invincible. And
She's
obviously...
like Superman charged.
I mean, she was going to be the whole reason why they win everything from pretty much any film from this point on. It's pretty much going to be...
Is it just me that finds that extremely boring, or is
I do, because, I mean, you want to have some sort of challenge.
Yeah. Something
And
to overcome?
it kind of felt like when I watched Captain Marvel, it was just like, okay, give her some challenge. Come on. She was like, you know, oh, here's an impossible task, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Is this I'm probably going to get beaten up for this, but do you think that whole feminist side of this film, that obviously was a big deal when it came out and everyone was jumping on it, and she's quite outspoken about, or she talks about things that people get a bit yancy about. But yeah, I find that this whole feminist movement, it's sort of like Force Awakens with Rey, that character. We have these strong female characters, right, which is fine. I have no issue with it all. I mean, I like watching good characters on screen. Doesn't matter what gender they are.
And Wonder Woman's another one. That was huge.
Wonder Woman. That
obviously. Sort of like the rebirth. But this is the way I see it. I've got nothing. I like to see more women in film. It's a perfect thing, especially heading the films. It's really important because I mean,
there's only so many guys we can watch before we get on. It's a bit, it's boring.
And the guys are very. They tend to not have any dimension to them. So it's nice to have a woman in and with a woman point of view. However, personally, the way I see it is that we've been having strong women characters since the 50s.
Oh, totally. I agree.
Even just the Wonder Woman from the 50s was very much like that.
Well, they were doing it then, weren't they? So, we can't take that away from them. I didn't even, didn't think about that so much because for some reason we seem to be discussing it a lot now, on YouTube and critics and, on the internet. You just see article after article about these clickbait articles or whatever it is, just trying to push agendas or their opinions on these sorts of things, and it's just anyway.
And even Aladdin, which I saw recently, great family film. All families should go see it. You'll have a good time. But even that, they've added in some new scenes, which was that whole women empowerment, which is great. That's fine. But I couldn't help but feel like it was added because of the climate we're in at the moment.
I think it is justified. I don't have to say I think it is. I think it is justified.
Yeah.
Because we are living in a time now when it should be that way. Because when you think back to the Jasmine character in the original, I can't even think of what that character is apart from being the chick that falls in love with Aladdin. Yeah. She has no other character to her. Maybe she wants to win her father's independence. Like, she wants to sort of have her own independence and all that sort of thing. She's kind of like daddy's princess. That's all I remember, really.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Disney, the very early Disney, it's all about the man saving the woman.
Not shining armor sort of thing.
Which I think it's refreshing to see that maybe in the last 10 years that sort of has
reversed.
Evolved. Yeah, it's basically, it is reversed, especially with something like Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Two strong female characters, but they almost made the men in the film need the women more than the women need the men.
So it's kind of a 180 on that, which is good.
Yeah, it was nice to sort of see that.
So what would you say in the scheme of Marvel films, could you even rate that in a sort of like, was it a mid-tier Marvel movie? Was it one of the higher ones that you'd seen, just maybe from filmmaking? Or was it just bland and same old? Because that's my impression. I thought, well, yeah, it's got a female character. Cool, I like that. And it's the first Marvel female character. And I thought, about bloody time. I think that was, to be honest, I felt like that was way too late. Because DC beat them to the game there with Wonder Woman. And I thought Marvel should have done that before.
That's the issue is that the way that I read the film is that Captain Marvel was an answer to Wonder Woman. Yeah. And it shouldn't have been that way.
Yeah, exactly.
It shouldn't have been that way.
That's why I kind of didn't want to support it to an extent. Because I just thought, you're just trying to squeeze more money out of me, but it didn't feel like they were genuinely doing it. Yeah.
The issue is when it gets to a stage where it has to be an answer to that.
Yeah, their competition.
That's kind of where it's a bit sad, where it should just happen. And we shouldn't
should have already happened.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to try and force it just because the climate we're in, where people are saying, okay, these kind of characters are important. Especially when pretty much any other genre, there's plenty of female characters in it. Oh. Think about horrors, think about dramas.
Specifically horrors.
Yeah. And where they're pretty much driven by women characters. And it's the whole fact that you've got a women character with depth and dimension is the whole reason why that genre exists in for certain films. But then you go to something like, you know, these new action films where we haven't really seen that.
Yeah.
At least not recently.
Yeah. So I'm yet to see Captain Marvel, and I will see it. Probably download it.
And anyway, so if the police, you guys want to get any money off him, just
Disney police, come get me. I feel like I'm in Brazil. I don't know if you've seen the movie Brazil. It's a Terry Gilliam. Do you know Terry Gilliam? You know Monty Python?
No, I know Terry Gilliam. I don't know the film, of course.
Well, you got to see it, because if you're a film junkie or a film buff...
Yeah, I was going through a stage where I was watching everything of his. It's so different.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I think if you like 12 Monkeys and you like Time Bandits, it's somewhere in between those two.
Yeah, okay.
But it's actually a solid one, because most of his movies are just messy and they're brilliant, but at the same time, some of them are hard to watch.
Yeah, you can tell he doesn't give a crap about story. He's just like, I'm just going to do stuff.
Yeah, it's just stuff's happening on the screen, and it's great. You know,
and that's what's fun about it. You can't go in there, you know, expecting a journey to go on. You're just going to go in there thinking, okay, this is happening. This is happening now. Oh, something else is happening. Yeah.
But Avengers. Went into this one. I knew it was going to sell out the cinemas because these are so bloody popular, and I thought, well, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
And then the day it came out, my brother turned to me. He's like, well, we weren't doing anything. He's like, do you want to go see Avengers? And I thought, well, I'm not even going to bother looking at the bloody to buy online tickets because they'll just be sold out. Hoyts, all sold out, if not 1 or 2 seats left, you know, in the worst positions. And I was like, oh, fuck that. And then Village, you know, the lesser cinema chain, ended up seeing that there was seats there, and I went and saw it and thought... And, you know, the movie starts, you know, on Hawkeye. And I thought, oh, cool. You know, because I am kind of bored of watching these characters so much, you know. But bringing back a character like that had been in it, and then he left, and now he's back again. And then the way they kind of went about the film, basically, I'm getting at, sort of had me going. You know, I was like, okay, I'm getting invested in this again. Yeah. And I was there along for the ride, and I enjoyed it. You know, I actually went and saw it again with my missus because she wanted to see it. Well, she wasn't hungry to see it, but I was like, well, let's go see it, because I wouldn't mind watching it again. And I enjoyed it a second time, you know. They're fairly solid pieces of work, right? And it's interesting, they've got a lot of different ingredients in them, whether it's the actors, like Josh Brolin playing Thanos. You know, just to seeing Robert Downey, I mean, I've been a big fan of Robert Downey, and seeing him play Tony Stark is probably one of the better superhero performances. I just find him entertaining on screen. There's Chris Evans, who is more boring to me, but I think the character is still genuine, you know, still quite something there that's interesting to watch, and he plays his part well. And just seeing their end, you know, how they kind of finish that arc, the first major arc off, really. You know, this transitional phase that we're hitting now, where all these older actors are gone. You know, Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow, she's out now, and we had Vision, who was in the one before. He's gone as well. So there's a lot of characters that are kind of like missing and going, and you know, new ones are stepping up, like Captain Marvel. So it's like this transitional phase. It keeps me curious in that way, and how they go about it. But the story-wise, or just the beats. It's more the story beats that I'm more interested in now. I'm watching it for if they can surprise me with their story beats, you know, the first, second, and third act. Yeah. You know, and if there's stuff there that has got me guessing.
And that's the thing, like, the films if I look back at the films that I really enjoyed, they're the films that I don't really know where they're going. But if I can watch the first 20, 30 minutes of it and pretty much know where we're going to go, then I don't tend to enjoy those ones as much.
Your concentration definitely wanes. Yeah. It's just like, I'm going to start playing on my iPhone now.
And unfortunately, to a degree, that's what happened with this one.
Okay.
I mean, there was a few things I sort of threw in there. But pretty much by 30 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I see what's going to go. They're going to go back in time, and they're going to try and fix it. And
once that came about, I was still a bit surprised. I didn't think that would go there for some reason. I was thinking, is that cheesy? You know, and then when they're even going through it, I'm like, this is kind of cheesy. But I'm still kind of backing it. You know, it's this weird sort of thing where I'm like, you know, for some reason I'm into it, but I can see it so clearly. Like, it's just like, it's weird. It's weird how they do that.
But, yeah, I mean, it was it's typical Hollywood. You know, walking out of there, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, cool.
Watching this podcast, you're probably thinking, this guy knows nothing. You're just hating on him. You're just hating on him because they're popular. Tall poppy.
Of course.
But no. I mean,
we're film buffs. Like, we enjoy film. You know, like, to say that we don't enjoy or take anything away from a film is stupid. Because
of course,
I take away something from every film I see, even if it is Anaconda 3 or Jaws: The Revenge or, you know, Alien 1 to fucking Alien vs. Predator. I've seen them all. I take something away, whether it's good stuff or bad, you know, and I appreciate experiences anyway. You know, it gives me something to do and I enjoy it. So whatever, you know, it shouldn't be an issue, you know, really. It shouldn't be like, oh my God, he hates something, he's a hater. How can I be a hater? I've gone and bloody watched the film and I've paid money for it. So
multiple times. But
I'm the part of the problem, I think. But yeah, I mean, Avengers made by the Russo brothers, you know, and I think when them coming in with Captain America, Winter Soldier, and then, you know, Civil War, and then Avengers Infinity War, and then this one. You look at all those films. I actually really enjoyed Captain America, Winter Soldier a lot. I think that was the last one I saw that surprised me to an extent, because I wasn't a big fan of Captain America in the first one.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I was like, wow, the action was intense. And then I found out they were the guys that did the stunts, are the guys that do John Wick. And just the fight scenes and the energy that the fight choreography and things like that is really entertaining. You know, it can get a bit much at some points, like there's Atomic Blonde and other movies as well, which I find, or even the second John Wick I found wasn't as good as the first one. But the first one, you know, just the way they do fighting and stuff is quite cool.
What intrigues me most is where they go from here. You can see this is clearly they're saying, okay, this is the ending of an era where we want to change things up and refresh it.
Yeah.
And so to see how the characters that do stay, how they're going to evolve, and the new ones that are going to come in, what role they're going to play in the whole universe.
Yeah, I wonder if they can, with the big actors out, like Robert Downey and that, I know it's not a big issue, but I'm just curious to see if they can sustain the impact that they have been getting. Like even Black Panther, massive movie.
Yeah.
And they seem to be just knocking them out the park, left, right, and centre. But I'm curious to see.
And that's the thing; they've wiped off their biggest franchises, the biggest superheroes, and they're basically saying, "All right, we're done with these guys. We're going to start again." And that, I mean, it's a gutsy move.
Yeah, it needed to happen though, because you can't have Robert Downey.
That's right. Yeah.
Forever.
It's good in one aspect because, unfortunately, the Hollywood industry likes to milk.
As long as they can.
Milk things, franchises, as long as they can. But it's good for them to say, okay, we want to stay current and we don't want to just hang on something because it makes us money. That part of it's really good to see.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, I guess that'll be it for today's podcast. If you're one of the 2 people that actually listen to this, good on you.
Thank you.
And we'll have more to come. Make sure that you keep an eye on our YouTube channel. We'll have more content coming soon. And I guess we'll talk to you later.
In the future. Till then, adios.